Everyone, welcome to the channel. So in this video I'm gonna show you the part 2 of building town relocation tool. So we're gonna focus on branching, precondition, field calculation using a model builder in ArcGIS. So in our previous video we have managed to select our major river using a model builder and making the selection completely automated. So in this video we're gonna select only this side of this parcel layer using selection tool. So we're using this particular polygon, that is our town boundary. So we're going to select only this portion of this parcel layer. So in the content section you can able to visualize town boundary is represented in pink and the major river is represented as the blue color, and the land unit parcels are represented in this color. So in this video we're going to continue. So where I have left off the last time with the model I've been building. So far we have copied the feature class and added and calculated the default value for the East River field, and then we loaded up the feature class as a feature layer. So this is our feature layer, and selected the parcels by location that intersects with the river, and set those parcel value for East River field to 1 using this expression to indicate that they do have the river running through them. So next step, I think what we need to do is to add another field for whether it's on the correct side of the river. So let me drag to the starting point. So I'm going to do that way back here before we load it as a feature layer. And while we could do it in a line with the rest of this, let's show off some branching in model builder and learn a few other concepts while we do it. So now I'm going to select the add field, and I'm going to hold the control to select the field calculation too. So once you selected the field add field as well as and I've selected my field calculation too. So I'm going to hold my control C in my keyboard, and I'm going to paste it. So using control V. So now we have managed to paste our fields here, that is our add field and field calculation. So we have basically duplicated those fields here, those tools, that is add field and field calculation, and it's going to branch off with the initial copied features here. You can able to see that this is the branching to run the same operation. So now let's tweak them to actually reflect what we want to add. So in this case the add field isn't the river anymore. So let me open this. I'm gonna double click. So here we're gonna change the field name to is on the correct side of the river. So in the field name I have entered as is on the correct side of the river, and this is basically setting up the end goal for this model, which is this field that has whether or not it's on the correct side of the river as 0 or 1 2 to indicate whether the parcel is on the same side of the river as the town boundary. So I will click OK. So let's rename this. So I'm going to right click and click this option called rename. So I'm going to enter as the parcels with the correct side. So now I have entered as parcels with correct side, a new name to it. So I'm going to click OK. So we have managed to rename just as we know to know a little more that is that's going on, and let's even rename this one. So I'm going to rename this. I'm going to right click and click this option called rename. I'm going to enter as add the correct side. So you're going to enter as add a correct side field. So now I have entered as add correct side of field. So I'm going to click OK. So let me rename this add field here. I'm going to right click and click this option called rename. So I'm going to enter as add river field. So now I have entered as add river field. Click OK. So that way we know which one's which, and when we go to modify them later. So now I'm going to rename this one. So we're going to right click and click this option called rename. So I'm going to enter as calculate default correct side value. So now I have entered as calculate default correct side value. And now we can actually look at this and take a glance and know what our model is doing. So you can able to see here. And once again, even though I have renamed these, there are still the same tools underneath the surface. And similarly, I'm going to rename this one. I'm going to enter as a parcels with a default side value. So now I have entered as parcels with default side value and click OK. So I could run this model now, and the underlined feature class could get the value attached But now that we branched out here, and how does the model builder know how to run this? Well, by default, it's pretty smart and figures out the kind of where to go. But generally speaking, if we know that this needs to be available before sometime in the future, so we should use the pre-request option. So in this case, I think we want to make it available before we can we make a feature layer, because we want to make sure that this field is available when it's a feature layer. So now I'm going to use the connect tool. So we're going to click this option called the connect, and now we're going to connect the calculate default value side value of this is an output. So we're going to connect this to, so we're going to drag from the output of the calculate value tool here to make it a feature layer here. And in this case, I'm just going to call it as a precondition. So the precondition says that these needs to run before these. So the precondition basically says that these set of tools needs to run before this tool, and the model builder will choose whether it runs the rest of these or whether this, and then this. But regardless, all of this will run before it runs the make feature layer and everything after it. So basically, this set of tools will run first. After that, this tool will run. That is our make feature layer tool. And now let's just run the whole thing and watch the branching in action. This is our branching. So now navigate to this option here. So click this option called validate entire model. So no warning signs, it's great. And now let's click this option called run. So it's running, it's run the copy feature. Now it's running the add river field. So it's adding the river field here, and you can able to see here. So now it's adding another field, that is correct side field. You can able to see that. So you can able to see from here. So it is in calculate default correct side of river. So now it's in select by layer. So I did run all of it. Let me close this. We could see it by the shadows here. You can able to see the shadows here, and we were able to see that it ran all of these before it proceeded to make feature layer. We have the bulk of our setup done. So we done a kind of our basic infrastructure setup. So we added a couple of fields and set the default values. Then we figured out which parcels have the river in them. So now we can continue on with our analysis. So I have a sort of problem here in that I've already added the is river field, and so I want to now dissolve the parcels layer based upon the is river field. But I have a selection active on the is river field for the river layer, and I personally I don't know how to create a new selection or clear the selection. Actually, I don't know how to clear a selection in model builder, but I do know how to switch it to something that we can use. So now I'm going to copy the select layer by location here. I'm going to right click this option called copy, and we're going to paste it here. So I'm going to use this selection tool again here. So I'm going to connect this parcels with the default river value to this select layer by location. So I'm going to use this connect tool here. So let me remove the selection here, and I'm going to use the parcels with the river default river value. So I'm going to connect this, so input feature layer, and again I'm going to connect with again this. So I'm going to click this as well as, so previously I selected as input feature layer. So now I'm going to select also as a selecting features. So I made it as a both input feature as well as the selecting feature, because I'm going to do means that the input don't really matter except the input feature layer. So now I'm going to open this. So here the input feature layer is the parcels with the default river value. So this one, the parcels with default river value. And now in the selection type, we're going to navigate this option called switch selection. And I suspect we could probably do something like this with the input feature layer in the selecting feature layer has been the same, and calling it a new selection or something like that, and we might get what we want. But we're going to switch selection. So now all of the non-river polygons will be selected, and that's what we really want. We want to only resolve those anyway. So we're going to get what we really want out of this. So we can click OK. So before that, you can able to see that previously selection was only on the river parcels. So now in the switch selection, it's going to leave this river and it's going to select rest of these parcels except the river parcels. So we can see that. I'm going to click OK. So what's going to do is select the parcels that intersects with the river and calculate the value for those parcels to be 1, and then it's going to select all the non-river parcels which we can then use in our dissolve tool here in the next step. So now let's go and find our dissolve tool. So we're going to navigate to the arc toolbox here. So under the data management tool, we have in the generalization, we have our dissolve tool. I'm going to click and drag into this drag this dissolve tool into our model builder interface. So now we can able to visualize this is our dissolve tool. So and before we do this, let's call this switch selection. I'm going to right click and rename. So I've entered as switch selection to a non-river parcels. So now I'm going to click OK. Just to continue with our documentation. So to understand this model, we are just renaming this different tools here. So again, I'm going to rename this. I'm going to right click this option called rename. I'm going to enter as non-river parcels. So now I have entered as non-river parcels. Click OK. And then we can feed that into our the dissolve tool as a input feature. So we're going to click this option called connect. So we're going to click this non-river parcels and into dissolve tool as an input feature. And what we still need to select with the dissolve is this. I'm going to open this. And what we still need to select with the dissolve is the field that it's going to dissolve on. So in the dissolve field, let me drag down here. And what we want to dissolve on this in this field is the is river. And notice that is on the correct side of the river shows up here. It knows that. So it knows that it's created first, and it will be on this feature class. So that's really handy. We could use that here if we needed to. So is river is what we're dissolving. So the is river is what we're dissolving on where we want the distinct polygons for each part of the is river. And then what we really don't want is we don't want to create a multi-part. So let me remove the tick mark here. So we don't really want to create the multi-part feature, because what I'm trying to get is a separate polygon on each side of the river. So if we created a multi-part feature for all of these values that were 0, I did get one big polygon for both sides of the rivers. Instead, I want one big polygon on the left side of the river as well as the right side of the river as a separate polygon. So I'm going to uncheck this. So now click OK. So the output of this will give us each of those polygon, but we still don't necessarily have we don't know which one is the correct yet. That is, which one of the polygon is on the correct side of the river. So we need another select by location. So once again, I'm gonna take this select by location, copy it and paste it here. And what we really want is this dissolve layer. So dissolve layer here is going to be what we want to make a selection on, and then we're going to select with our some data that we don't yet have on this model builder interface. There is our town boundary. So this is our town boundary. Let me show you that. So we're gonna use this town boundary layer here. Let me turn this off and you can able to see that. So we're gonna use the specific town boundary to select only this portion of the polygon using a town boundary layer. Let me get back to model builder here. So let's add the town boundary to this model builder interface. Let me click this and let me drag and paste it here. This is our town boundary, and now let me make it as this town boundary as a selecting feature, because what we're going to do is select the dissolve polygon that intersects with the town boundary. So let me connect this to our select by location as a selecting feature. But remember, I need to make this as a feature layer. As a feature layer before I do, because it writes out the dissolve polygon to the hard drive. And so I'm going to open this dissolve tool here. So I might want to necessarily make this name different, so that again that it doesn't collide with some other name. But for now we can leave it as is. So let us validate it. And now I need to make this as a feature layer. So I'm going to copy this feature layer. I'm going to right click, copy, and I'm going to paste it here. So now I'm going to make this as an input feature to over this particular. And similarly, I'm going to remove this preconditions here, which was connected with this layer. And now once I have this feature layer, this one, I can feed this feature layer in as input feature layer. So from here we're gonna insert here as an input feature layer to our select layer by location. So the town boundary, the selecting feature, which doesn't have to be a feature layer necessarily. That could be a feature class, but the layer to make the selection on has to be a feature layer. So now let me rename as select correct site. So I entered as select correct site, click OK. So now we're gonna rename this one. We're gonna enter as correct site polygon. So we have entered as correct site polygon, click OK. So now to arrange this automatically, we're gonna click this option called auto layout. So it's arranged it automatically here. You can able to see that. And see a little bit how the model builder is choosing to arrange our layout here. You can able to see that. So it arranged our tools in orderly manner. So now to run this model, let us first validate it. We're gonna click this option called validate entire model. So it's telling me that I have a duplicate data set name for a variable. So the validate button helped because it reminded me that when I copied that, the make feature layer, I didn't change the name here. So I'm gonna open this. So it says a parcels layer still, and in fact it is not the parcels layer. So we're gonna enter the output layer as a dissolve polygon layer. So now I have entered as dissolve polygon layer. So now we're gonna click OK. And similarly, we're going to rename this. We're going to name it as a dissolved polygon layer. So we're going to click OK. So the validation button can help us to prevent ourselves from making mistakes. So now let's validate again. We're going to click this option called validate entire model. So it didn't pop up any warning sign. So we are clear. And make sure that you save your model. And I'm going to select all the stuffs that we already went through. Let me copy this. That is, let me select this. So we have selected it still the till calculate default river value. So we're gonna run the entire model till here. We're gonna right click this option called run. So it is in calculate default river value. So it is here. So now it's adding a correct side field here. So the model had ran here. So that's all done up to here. We're gonna close it. So now let us right click on the parcels layer. We're gonna click add to display. So it shows up here. You can able to see that we still have the reverse polygon selected here. So now let's run the switch selection here. So we're gonna click this tool switch selection to non-river. We can right click this option called run. So let me close this. So now here you can able to see. Let me minimize it. So you can able to see from here. So I can see that it did changes here. You can able to see that. So it is selected only all the non-river parcels layer. You can able to see here in this part of the area. It has left out all the river parcels, and it selected only the non-river parcels. All these are non-river parcels. Let me zoom in here. You can able to see here. So here you can able to visualize it. So the river parcels are not selected. Only the non-river parcels are got selected here. You can able to see. And in fact these polygons in the middle here not selected here. So we are doing quite well here. So next we're going to run our resolve tool here. Let me reduce this. So now let us run this dissolve tool here. I'm going to select and click run. So it is completed. I'm going to close this. So now it dissolves only the selected polygons. And now click this option here and click this option called add to display. So let me zoom out here. So let's turn off the parcels layer so that the selection goes away. So we can see that we got some separate polygons here. You can able to see that. So let me open the attribute table of copied parcels layer dissolve. Click this attribute table. So we have these two fields here. Let me show you that. I'm gonna select this first one here. So all these portions got selected. Similarly, I'm gonna select second one. So only these portions are this side of the rivers got selected. So now I have two polygons. One on the left side of the river and one on the right side of the river. So we are making progress here. And let's deselect, so we leave everything the way it was, and we're gonna right click here and navigate to this option called selection, and in that we're gonna click this option called clear selected features. So let me close this. Let me expand the model interface. So now we're gonna run this make feature layer. Click this option called run. We're gonna close this. And then we're gonna run the select correct site. We're gonna click and click this option called run. Since that use the town boundary to select which polygon here was on the right side. So let me close this. And we don't see it because we added the dissolve feature class. So now let's add this to the display here. We're gonna right click here, click this option called add to display. And in fact we can see that it has selection active on the correct side of the river. So algorithm works. So we just proved that our algorithm to find the right side of the river does work, but we still need to use this selected polygon to mark the parcels on this side of the river as being on the correct side. So think about how we might do that still, and we will save that for the next video. So in this video we have added in quite a few steps in terms of actually in finding the right side of the river. So we dissolved the parcels after we marked which one were on which side of the river, and then we found which one is on the right side of the river by selecting by location with the town boundary and dissolve polygon here. So in our next video we will finish off our model off by selecting the correct parcels using this new polygon here and then calculating the field again. So thanks for watching our video. Please like and subscribe to our channel.